Oh, yeah. What's up, everybody? She got Brandon Stubbs here. Um, Looking quite homeless, but it is what it is. We're here live here with a top ranked card here on ESPN Plus and ESPN. I think we still got one more fight before they actually go live on ESPN. Um, so there's that part. But shit, I got a lot of stuff going on. I got shit binging and pinging off on various places. I gotta get this situated here. All right. So hopefully this isn't too bright. I've got the halo light here in front of me, not in front of me, above me here. But before we kind of delve in and start doing the simulcast regards here to the fights on ESPN, as I have to say for legal purposes, you will not see any actual live video of the fight here on cam. Whoa, she just got black. Uh, won't see any live footage of the fights here on cam. For obvious reasons, I don't want to get sued by Top Rank or piss them off because I actually have a pretty good relationship with them, and obviously for YouTube reasons. So any audio you hear in the background is just that, so I can actually hear what the hell's going on. You'll often see me kind of looking this direction, as that's where my TV is at. Granted, it is a very large TV, but I am old and my vision sucks. So I will often have to look, and yeah, so you can see all that. So there is that part. So yeah, yeah. So I guess while we're waiting here on that to go off, let's talk some boxing news because it's been a minute since I've talked some boxing news, and it's been some interesting things that have occurred here. So let's kind of start with the biggest news of the week is Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney being official, and they're now doing press did the press tour for it. And that was after a lot of interesting back and forth there, and mainly look for me for personal reasons. I wish the fight would have stayed in Vegas because well I booked a trip to travel to Vegas to go see it, but I get why it moved. It is what it is. Maybe a bigger site fee, them being scared off and not wanting to be there the week before a possible Canelo fight, which I'll touch on momentarily. But everything surrounding that, the whole, just everything from Ryan Garcia's perspective. Look, I'm not being a hater, coughing up, not being a hater, not trying to be Mr. Negative, but I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. If you're buying tickets and buying flight out there to New York to see Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia, proceed with caution, proceed with some sort of insurance with that because I just don't see Ryan Garcia fighting on April 20th. I just don't. Every indication from him is someone who's. I want to use my words carefully here. He just doesn't seem interested in boxing. And I know people are going to say, but yeah, we see him training, and that kid does not love boxing. He doesn't. He loves the attention it brings, but as far as boxing, no. And it's becoming more and more evident to me every time I see him. Um, he doesn't. He doesn't love the sport, and that's going to be his biggest downfall. Is him not loving the sport of boxing is going to be his downfall, and you see it already with him. He has a loss. He changes trainers. He's now working with Derek James. He was working with Mr. Goosen. He's had other trainers before that. So I mean, it's like he's constantly searching for something. And when you have a fighter who's constantly searching for something, that tells me that they're lacking something inside themselves to where they are that unconfident about what's going on and their ability to where they're reaching. They're constantly reaching it. Well, it's reaching at the mic there. And that's what's happening with Ryan Garcia. The guy's reaching. And I just don't see the fight occurring. I just don't. You had him, you had Oscar tweet out of nowhere, New York Barclays, and the official press release come out like 16 hours later. And then Ryan tweeting saying, unless you saw it for me, it's not official. And then saying, it's not like he didn't want to fight New York, but it's a business thing. Look, I completely get it. I've heard that there's like 40% tax of some sorts. Like it's a large amount that they're taxed against while fighting in New York. Completely get it. Completely see why there's not a lot more of these bigger level fights in New York. Because if I'm associated with this, if I'm anybody's manager, no, I don't want you fighting over there losing that much money to a state tax. I mean that shit's outlandish. So um, yeah, no, no. So I get it from that aspect, but all of his antics here during the week, here during the press conference and the tour, seem off. He's talking about he just smokes a lot of weed, which somebody has already pointed out that THC is banned in New York. So I don't know, how when they get to start doing piss test or for what have you for the fight, what happens with that. So there's a lot of stuff that just don't make a lot of sense here in regards to Ryan Garcia in this fight. I just don't see it occurring as scheduled. I hope I'm wrong. Um, for everyone who's involved, sake. Um, there's a lot of logistics with that. I mean, God bless Golden Boy because they're already having to work overtime PR wise for Ryan and his actions, the things he's saying and doing this week to assure the buying public the fight is going on. I mean, he was complaining about the ticket price. Ticket prices were too high, and he's sending out screenshots of text messages he's sending to Jane, who's one of the PR directors and does PR work for Golden Boy, and she's telling him, "Hey, that's an Oscar thing. That's above me," which I thought was also very well. I appreciate him quote unquote looking out for the fans and trying to get the ticket prices lowered. Um, that's some wild shit to put that tweet out there like that. Like you don't have to put these people who work in the office for your promoter on blast like that. I thought that was a little bit shitty and in very poor taste. Like I said, I appreciate him trying to reach out to them and get the ticket prices lower for his fans, but that's not the way to go about doing it. Is putting them on blast like that. Um, I mean, the ticket prices did get lowered a little bit, and I think some other seats got opened up there in the venue at a lower price. My understanding is they've sold close to 10,000 tickets already since the pre-sale went on live. I think it went live Thursday, so it's going to sell and it's going to sell out at this rate. But again, I would just proceed with caution with making travel arrangements and thinking you're going to see Ryan Garcia now, unless he just locks in these last few weeks. Not last few weeks. He's got a month and a half, almost 2 full months since the fight's not until 420. He's got some time, but let's see. We've got Norman Jr. and Jalison Bocachia here now live here on the top ranked card. It's a forgive me. It's been a long day. I'm already tired, but we're gonna see if we can toughen it out here for the full fight card here from Top Rank. Now, they don't go live with the main event until 9 o'clock Central Time, so 10 o'clock Eastern, so another 50 minutes from now. So we have this fight card here right now. Like I said, the last fight here, part of the prelims. Brian Norman and Jalison Bocachia here in the welterweight division. So they're getting ring announced now. If you can hear the background, which I hope you can, but um, we'll get some insight here in regards to this fight here. These two young men here in the welterweight division, which welterweight could get a little bit strange here. So word is Terrence Crawford is officially done and moving up to 147. I'll be honest, there's not a ton of talent at 147 anymore. Um, so you never know, a win like this could put one of these young men in some sort of position. Don't know what kind of position, but 140 is going to be a little bit interesting if Crawford is really done. I mean, you've got Boots Ennis there. You have um, Mario Barrios there, who's going to be fighting for some kind of vacant belt or interim belt at 147, which I don't know if he's even got a win at 147 yet, which is even crazier. So, um, well, welterweight is going to be an interesting division, and then not as talent rich right now, but there is a lot of talent at 140 who could potentially move up to make it a talent rich division again. But as we stand now, especially if Crawford is done at 147, it's not that deep. So we'll see what our future holds here for the welterweight division. But You never know, Boca Chica. Oh, excuse me, Jesus Christ. No, you never know what Norman and Boca Chica can do. So let's see what these two guys are doing right now. So Boca Chica right now, taking center, working off of his jab. Nothing spectacular here from either one of these guys thus far. As this fight card is from Verona, New York, so upstate New York, there, not too far from the Hall of Fame. Well, as we are listening to Tim Bradley, as he always does, shit on the fighters. Some about one of them has been pro for 6 years. Well, he's actually going to move up and do something. Rather harsh sentiment there from him. Hmm. Saying Norman Jr. broke his hand prior to signing with Top Rank. Um, all of his fights prior to signing with them here last year, or actually in 22, were with one hand. And then he got surgery and has been fighting now with a repaired hand. So I think it was his right hand that they showed him having surgery on. So that's something else. I mean, broken hands are nothing to play with. That shit hurts. Someone who has suffered hand injuries, uh, it's not fun. And it's one of those things to where it can, wow, Boca Chica's already bleeding here. 40 seconds left in the first round. That's crazy. Having hand injuries, and if Norman really was fighting a majority of his fights with a broken hand, God bless him, because those aren't fun. It just, after a while, you kind of get numb to it if you're throwing with a broke hand. Um, but once that adrenaline dump, once you're done with that, it's not fun. And wow, Boca Chica just hit Norman with a right hand and floored him here with 15 seconds left in the opening round. Norman gets up. He's taking a couple of steps into the neutral corner, but wow, interesting way to end that round there. Boca Chica's leaking heavily from the top of his right eye. Norman gets knocked down to the ground, and looks like he could have been a flash knockdown. So let's see here in the replay. I was actually looking over here at the computer when Norman got dropped there. But that's crazy. I mean, he doesn't look hurt. So he was going in, let's see. He got hit with a right hand, but it did look like he had. Did he even get hit with that? Yeah, he got hit. So he was Boca Chica was up against the ropes. He's trying to throw a kind of a looping right hand. Norman was, and he got hit clean with the right. Yeah, Floyd got hit square on the chin. It's like, yeah, that hit. Norman got hit square on the chin, but he was able to get up. So I mean, he popped up, doesn't look too hurt. But again, Boca Chica's got a nasty cut above his left eye that was leaking pretty bad. Looks like his corner was able to get it stopped. The thing is, how long is that cut going to be able to hold up for getting opened up in the first round? Um, and I think they had said that this is the cut Boca Chica had suffered even in his last fight. So it's not a horrible spot if it's above the eye. Looks like it could drip down and away from the eye. But every fighter reacts different when they're punched and they're bleeding. So we'll see how Boca Chica reacts and see how good of a job his corner can do on that cut as this fight progresses. But right now, um, not bleeding here, so we're about a minute in here to the second round. And gonna be wondering if Norman's gonna be a little bit gunshot after walking in and getting hit with that right hand and dropped here in the first round. That was a round he was probably winning before getting knocked down. So that's a 10-8 round for Boca Chica that should have been a 10-9 for Norman. So, and again, Norman's kind of, I don't want to say rushing in. And now Norman's bleeding from the right side of his face. So I can't tell if that was a clash of heads there, but he's bleeding from the right side. I can't tell where exactly this cut is on him, looking like it's kind of here in the corner. So it looks like it's also dripping away from the face, or excuse me, from the eye. So it may not be that bad of a cut, but a cut nevertheless. So, wow. So the cornermen are going to be really having to do their work here as we're in the second round, and both guys are cut above their eyes. So crazy. And I say Norman Jr.'s pretty sloppy thus far. Um, so, but let me kind of dive into some more things here because I'm going to be very honest. I'm doing this live. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay woke for all these fights. I know when I did the first live here, which I don't think I actually saved somehow, I wasn't able to. I made it, but I was dragging ass trying to do this. Oh wow, Boca Chica is now leaking. He's leaking, I think, at the top of his head now, and they threw a towel in. Bitchy Steph is the ref, and he's yelling for the doctor. He's like, "Doctor, doctor, doctor." Yeah, those are some nasty cuts Boca Chica has. Boca Chica has one on the eyebrow, just like a Z from like the eyebrow, then going up this way. He's got a cut here in the top of his hairline. Um, Doctor's looking at both of the cuts now. Neither one of them are bleeding really into the eye. The one that's on the forehead, um, kind of the crown area, it's one is leaking down when they're getting the blood to stop, which it does look to be rather a deep cut. It's dripping straight down, uh, right down on his forehead. And now they got the other doctor checking out Norman in his corner because he's got a cut there on the corner of his eye. This is crazy. Now, this is gonna what's gonna be happening is this fight's more than likely gonna get stopped because all these guys are cut and bleeding pretty bad with seconds left in the second round. This was the last fight here before they went live on ESPN. They still would have at this rate 40 minutes of filler time. They'd have to figure out before they go live. So that would suck. Which why I said, I mean, if it ends up happening, if I get stopped, I'll just talk some boxing news, and I will probably dip out before these fights start live. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is unfortunate. I mean, they keep the doctor here that's looking at Boca Chica. Here's the thing. I mean, you keep blotting it, getting to stop, looking at it with the flashlight, looking. I mean, you're not going to get the blood to stop going. And I don't know if he's hard for him to tell how deep the cut is because of Boca Chica's hair, which is very feasible because Boca Chica does have a decent amount of hair top of his head, unlike me, which you see mine's is thinning. I need a haircut and a shave, but So okay, the doctors are cleared them both to go, so we're gonna go here. We got 30 seconds left here in the second round. I don't see this lasting long. With both guys bleeding, somebody's gonna to be the aggressor, just kind of go for the knockout, see if they can get the other one out of there because with both having cuts, and probably more so Boca Chica at this rate, a cut on your head, top of your head, cut on your eye, but that cut on his eye is pretty nasty as well. Um, Try to get it over with, and I mean the cut that Norman Jr. has isn't a nice placement either. It is in the corner of his eye, but again, it looks like it is bleeding away from it. So I think the corner right now for Boca Chica is saying um, if it should go, because looks like Boca Chica's corner is not real happy about that. So pretty much two headbutts. Oh, and the elbow actually caused the cut on Norman. Wow, interesting. So very interesting in the replay there. They show Boca Chica threw and hit Norman Jr. with an elbow. That's what caused his cut. That was a pretty nasty elbow. I mean, in mixed martial arts, that'd be a good blow, but we don't use elbows in boxing. That's crazy. Fight still going here in third round, but again, I'm not sure with these cuts. Norman's a little bit being a more aggressor here. Nice combination there thrown. But again, I think one of these guys are going to try to go for the kill and go. Balls out to try to score a knockdown here, just to get this fight over with, given the cuts. But the cornermen are definitely going to earn their paychecks here today, trying to get these cuts to stop. Both these guys a little bit reckless to the way that they're running in with their heads. Um, so mm. And Benji Estevez, God bless him in his dye job. Um, Benji's pretty old, has jet black hair. He looks like a vampire here in the ring. So yeah, here's that. Um, I respect the aggressiveness of both these guys, given their cuts, given them having their issues that they're having right now with these cuts, still pressing forward and still being aggressive there in ring. But it's actually generally pretty sloppy amongst these two guys right now. Boca Chica keeps throwing punches the back of the head after they clinch. It's almost I don't know Boca Chica's aggressiveness and wondering a little bit, is he trying to get found a way out? Um, Still some interesting tactics Boca Chica's doing when he's holding Norman Jr.'s head. Yo, I'm yawning. There's no way I'm gonna make it that make it this late at night here with these fights. Again with these East Coast fights, I said this a couple of weeks ago with Oshaki Foster's fight versus Abraham Nova. Granted, I didn't wasn't live for that, but I was talking about it in general. Watching the fight, these cards are starting way too late. If you're on the East Coast, there's zero reason why these fights, the main card should be starting at like 8 at the latest and not 9. Um, Even when you're in Vegas, people, especially if it's a Friday night for a Vegas fight, they can get up early, go out early for the fight. For the arena can open at 2 o'clock. That's 4 o'clock Central Time. That's 5 o'clock Eastern Time to start these cards. So where the main card can start at 7 Eastern Time. That's 5 o'clock there out west. And I mean, especially out there, having the fight that early in the evening, late afternoon start when the doors open, and having the fight be done, 8, 9 o'clock Vegas time. I mean, not even 8 o'clock Vegas time, more like probably 8 o'clock Vegas time, 7 or 8 o'clock Vegas time. That leaves people so much more time to do more things out there. Um, I've never understood why they didn't push for that a little bit more. Um, I know people. I know they're looking for being finding a time that makes sense for all audiences, but starting fights so late is not good for the East Coast audience. Um, us here in the Midwest, we're a little bit indifferent because it's just as bad for us as well. Oh wow! So the fight is stopped due to the cuts. Saying he was bleeding too much. The fight's ended up being a no contest here after 3 rounds due to the cuts. Probably smart move here by Boca Chica's corner. Sounds like they were kind of pressing for it a little bit more. given the cuts and what it is here in the round and what rounds it was. So where he doesn't worry about taking the losses, just as it being a no contest. So um, it is what it is. So let's we got some filler time here. See if we can make it here to um, the main card, which I'm kind of doubting I'm going to be able to make it, folks. Pretty sleepy. So a lot of things have going on here with Canelo Alvarez. Let me kind of touch here on Canelo. Um, so word was here a week and a half ago that the business dealings between Canelo and PBC were done. There were some issues here with the money, some guarantees. It really depends upon who for the record you want to believe. So they couldn't come up with his money. I guess the opponents that they want to have him fight, he's not really interested in, which is Charlo, the other Charlo, Benavidez, Terrence Crawford, um, were the names mentioned, especially maybe being Charlo being the next opponent with David Benavidez or even possibly Terrence Crawford next in September. And, they were saying, stories were saying that pretty much either PBC couldn't come up with the money or Canelo really wasn't interested in the the other opponents they had listed. He's willing to face Charlo here for the next fight here in May. Maybe not so much David Benavidez next in September, or that really seems like, and even in interviews, he's all that interested in Terrence Crawford jumping up from 147 to fight him at somewhere in 160 range, 168 range. Who knows? But he didn't seem real interested in that. So all the buzz was okay. He's leaving PBC, breach of contract, some kind of opt out clause, whatever story you want to believe, to possibly be a free agent again or go work with um, Eddie Hearn and Zone and Matchroom. And where it was after Edgar Berlanga's fight here last week, which he won, which, by the way, Edgar Berlanga's not, he's not it. I'll get on Edgar Berlanga here in a minute in a rant. Um, but that was the word. That was the move that's going to happen. Berlanga first, and then Jaime Manguia, who's also there, part of the zone for co-promoted with Zephyr and Golden Boy, uh, would be possibly an opponent for September. So that was all the buzz. That's what it was looking like. Everybody's saying, that's the route it's going to happen. That's the route it's going to go. Now the news is, well, not so fast, because it doesn't sound like the Berlanga fight's going to happen next. It's actually going to be Jaime Manguia next. It's actually going to still be through PBC. It's just a complete joke and round robin of how things are going now. I don't know anything in regards to whether PBC has money, they don't have money. I don't know, but I will say this. We are now, as I record this, it is March 2nd. PBC has not had a fight card yet this year. They just literally started putting out some promotion in regards to the Costa Zoo, Tim Zoo, Keith Thurman fight. Calling the guy's dad's name. He's probably got that a time or two. Fight card here at the end of this month. So that's kind of a problem, that you have a fight card on PBC, from PBC, on Amazon Prime. This is going to be your first broadcast on this new platform, and it doesn't seem like you're really pushing out and churning out media for it. I've seen I watch Amazon Prime quite a bit, flipping through stuff and watching stuff live throughout the day, just to, have something running in the background as I'm working. I haven't seen anything on there about fight. Now, obviously, maybe be something a little bit closer to time, because it's going to be a pay-per-view. You're going to have to pay for it. Be subscribed to Amazon Prime and then pay for it, pay for the fight. So I don't get it. There's some issues there. Now, is there a chance that they're still trying to, find funding, find funds, allocate fighters, and all this stuff, and maybe they can really start turning on the back half of the year? Absolutely. It's still that opportunity, still that chance. But it just seems mighty strange that you have a lot of fighters that Al Heyman is linked to as being an advisor, manager, whatever phrase you want to use for it, or really his de facto, being their de facto promoter. People say, well, he's not their promoter, he's their advisor. Well, no one's dumb here. Okay, Heyman uses these other skeleton promoters such as Tom Brown to officially be the promoter of note, promoter of record. But we all know who's running the show and has the final say so on things. It's not the promoter Tom Brown in this case. It is Al Heyman. Like, don't be confused by that. Don't let that part leave you. Like, he's the guy who's making it happen to where everyone's getting paid. But has the bridge has been burnt with these different networks, and people are not seeing their return on investment to where that's why we're not seeing fights announced. If you have this Canelo fight in May, you're potentially looking at just this being what we know so far for PBC. The fight card here with Zoo and Keith Thurman in March, Canelo possibly versus Jaime Munguia now in May, and then there's a fight with Javante Tank Davis versus Frank Martin, one likely here sometime in June or July. That's three fight cards. And if you've got three fight cards announced and only one happening in the first quarter of the year, uh, the second one halfway through the second quarter of the year, and you don't have your third one listed quite yet, but looks like it'll also be sometime, possibly second, third quarter. Not good. That's just not a good look. So I don't think the people who are bashing PBC aren't looking, I think, sometimes at the bigger picture. And I think the people who are fans of PBC, quote unquote, because there's a lot of fanboys and promoters, I don't think they're looking at it from a realistic eyes. There's something wrong there. There's clearly something wrong there. And they have a lot of fighters who are um, underneath that umbrella and not enough opportunities for these guys to fight. And I also think another big thing that's going to come down the pipeline is there just may not be enough money. The money may not be there like it was before when they were fighting on Showtime for these guys to get opportunities to get paid like they were. So it's a lot of moving parts with that. Like I said, I don't know. As far as the fights go, I could give two shits about the Tim Zoo, Keith Thurman fight. Tim Zoo should quite honestly blast him out the water. If he doesn't blast him out the water, I'm actually going to be quite disappointed. Simply because Keith Thurman hasn't fought in 2 years. He's a retired fighter. He's moving up in weight. He is not an active enough fighter for me to have any lick of confidence in him being able to do anything of note in ring. Period. And this was someone who's a fan of Keith Thurman, but his inability to fight and stay healthy has just ruined his career. There was a note of, is he a Hall of Famer? No, he's not. He hasn't been active enough. I mean, you fight one time every few years, it's just not it. That's not good. That's not relative to what a Hall of Fame career is really consistent of at this point. So, and nor am I really intrigued by Pitbull Cruz and Rolly Romero. Um, Cruz should be able to outbox him to win the fight. I may be slightly intrigued by that. Let me take that back because Rolly's gonna have working with a new corner, so we'll see. We'll see how that works out. But overall, am I going to order that fight on Amazon Prime? Absolutely not. I kind of wonder, and I know it's going to be part of like payferview.com and what have you, if I'm going to be able to find anywhere here locally that'll actually be showing the fight card. Um, I'm thinking, will I even be in town? Yeah, I'll be in town. If I'll find anywhere that actually has the fight, so we'll see. We'll see. But I'm not enthused about that. And I mean, the Jaime Magia Canelo fight is interesting. Um, and everyone's pointing out that he's Jaime Magia is only co-promoted with Golden Boy. It's Zephyr Promotions who Canelo be working with, and not Oscar and Golden Boy. Look, be clear. Be very clear. If Oscar has an opportunity to get his hands in this, he will. Don't think that he won't at all. So that aspect of it makes it intriguing. I don't think the fight is going to be horrible, but I also think Jaime Magia is still pretty. He's green enough to where I worry if he gets taken into deep waters by Canelo, how he's going to react. But he's also young enough not to know any better and just go gung ho and could really give Canelo problems. So it is a bit intriguing from that aspect and something I'm definitely interested in watching that fight. That fight in itself is a little bit intriguing. The Tank Davis Frank Martin fight, I'm not a huge Tank fan. I I'm just not. This is Frank Martin's opportunity. He had an opportunity against Shakur Stevenson, turned that down due to the money. Has been sitting on the shelf since then. So Shakur, for that matter, with really nobody, no really opponent of note for him to face before his contract is up with Top Rank. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how that plays out. That's one. If I see it, great. If I don't, great. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. So um, there's that part. I mean, otherwise than that, not a lot of other boxing news that I want to go over here. I did see Guillermo Rigondeaux is now signed and going to be doing bare knuckle boxing with the bare knuckle with BKFC. Just had to look at my phone, and sure enough, they actually sent an email in regards to something else. So you are seeing that a lot more. A lot more fighters signing up, willing to fight with bare knuckle boxing and BKFC, which good for them. I, I guess they're making okay living doing it. I also know there's been more commissions willing to now sanction bare knuckle boxing, so you're not going to see that in more places of note. Um, I think they're still kind of working on a major distribution deal for that um, to possibly get on more of a major network, have some sort of push with that. So good for them if they can. I know they have their app and you can buy fight cards through there and whatnot. But I've tried to watch bare knuckle boxing a couple times. I can't totally vibe with it, but God bless Guillermo Rigondeaux with his advanced age for wanting to do that. I mean, it also makes you wonder a bit too because all you see the boxers you do see that are fighting on bare knuckle boxing, a lot of guys that are just absolutely washed at this rate. Um, I know Ishii Smith did it, Paulie Malignaggi, now Guillermo Rigondeaux, Austin Trout. I think actually may have won or maybe fighting for one of their championships here soon. So it's a very um, odd thing to do, but it is what it is. I also know right now I think there's a Jake Card fight card going on as well. I know there was a bar earlier and they had signage saying they were going to be showing the fight at 7. I didn't really know that that was much of a fight card in demand, quite honestly, and I completely forgot about it. I'll be very honest. I'm really not intrigued with Jake Paul's boxing career. Amanda Serrano, someone honestly find annoying and have no interest in watching her fights. Shout out to her losing to Katie Taylor. I did win money off that fight, so salute to her and I appreciate her for that. But no one I've ever actually had any interest in watching. No one I've ever been really wowed by. So I know people saying, it's pound for pound, yada yada. But I've never been overly impressed by anything I've seen by her. So they're showing here Luis Alberto Lopez and able fight here will start here in about 5 minutes. So we'll be doing some talking about that as that fight card goes on here. That's going to be for the IBF featherweight world title. 5 minutes away, so they are actually pushing this on and not waiting here to the top of the hour, which I appreciate them for. As I continue to yawn as I'm talking here doing this live. Um, so yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing that they're getting this shit on the road and getting it rolling. So speaking of boxing, so like I said, I kind of like doing these, just like talking out loud. Whether it's people watching these live, there's people watching the replays of these. Um, when I say that, I've only done like one so far. But with this one, I'm gonna make sure it saves, and if you want to go back and watch it, but I do plan on doing these a little bit more often, especially here with the fight cards on ESPN. Um, Maybe even some here from the UK that appear on Peacock TV. I do not have the zone, and I refuse to pay for it. I will not be ordering any Amazon Prime Video Prime pay per view cards, so won't be doing them for those. But other cards that are televised, I will try my best to do those for these. Now, with that being stated, there's a big fight card here later this month with Oscar Valdez returning to the ring against Smith. And then we have Sinisa Estrada fighting the co-main event against Val. I think that's the enunciate her name in the unification bout. Um, there will not be a lot for that as I will actually be there live. So I will not be able to do that here on here. I'll actually be there in the arena watching that fight card. I gotta say this: if you haven't been to um, Phoenix, Glendale area, beautiful area for me to visit. Now, granted, I know those people live there and say, yeah, not so much, but I also think it's also becoming a good place to have fights. You have a lot of different venues you can have the fights cards at. You have the Diamond Desert Resort arena. That's where I'm going to be at watching the fight card here end of this month, and where I went last year and watched Valdez Navarrete. Nice venue out there. It's right by the actual football stadium where the Arizona Cardinals play. Then the other side of Phoenix, you have the basketball arena where the Suns play. Forgive me, I don't remember what that one's particularly called, but they've had fight cards there. So Phoenix is a good, nice place to have fight cards at and a change of pace. While personally I prefer the convenience of Las Vegas because I know everything's at. I can move there freely. I can do that, you know, drunk. Fight weekends. I can move around there and know where everything's at and know the pattern and know how everything's going. And I know there's probably other people in the media and other fans who know in other cities, who know how to do things in New York, when they have fight cards there. So, but I'm also glad when we have fights in other places. It makes sense, especially for guys, uh, to build a base at home, and have fan support out there. I mean, you have fights down in Texas in respective areas where these guys are from, whether it be Dallas, Houston, Fort Worth, and there's a lot of great venues down there. Again, like I said, Phoenix is another one that has a lot of great venues. Never been to upstate New York where they're having the fight card here tonight at Turning Stone. Never been to Connecticut up in Mohegan Sun, and I know that was a place when PBC was doing their fights in their bubble up there, a venue they had. And I know Mohegan Sun a lot of times would be have a lot of Friday night fight cards there. I don't know if there's any regional boxing going up there anymore, if they have fight cards out there or not, but that seemed to be a nice venue. So it's good to see when things switch up. I just don't want it at the cost of fighters having to pay a ridiculous amount of taxes, because again, if New York's taxes are like that, absolutely fucking not, no way. Um, would not do it. Would not advise my guys to do it. No way. That is fuck no. Um, but it is what it is. But I also think this as well. You will start seeing more and more of the larger, you know, big fights, that can be made. Which I don't know if there's a ton of those that we're clamoring for right now. Are going to end up over in the Middle East, and with them, whitewashing sports and willing to pay ridiculous amounts of money for those fights there and those rights. Those fights are going to end up there. I don't know if there's a fight right now that I can see being so huge it has to be out there that they would be able to afford it. Um, the only one I can honestly see on the horizon, as I say this out loud, and I can't believe I'm saying this, would probably be Tyson Fury if he gets past Usyk, um, and him and Francis Ngannou in a rematch. And that's if Francis Ngannou beats Anthony Joshua here when they fight. I think that's also this month. So that's those are the only that's the only big fight that I could see that would land there that makes a lot of sense from a financial aspect, because no one in America is going to pay the exuberant amount that they're going to want, 30 million per guy, for something like that, while they will over there in the Middle East societies would be willing to pay that. Beyond that, I don't think there's another fight that's really clamoring that has to be out there from a financial aspect that couldn't happen here in America. Um, I've said this. Terrence Crawford is moving up to 154. Virgil Ortiz is already there at 154. I think that'd be a great fight. Nothing that's needs to be outside the U.S. That the fight somebody could afford here. Um, and I mean, obviously, Devin Haney, him picking up a win, him and versus Tank. I don't think that's that a fight that needs to be over there. I think they'll probably sell out to do it and go over there and take that money. But I think that's a fight that could happen here. Um, but yeah, so I do want to touch on something here. Let me pull up this story because this is wow, because he's had a very interesting last few days, and that's one Jared Anderson. So I could have swore it was something else here earlier this week, but I'm pulling the tweet. So today he was arrested, and this is per Mike Coppinger. Jared Anderson was charged with felony fleeing police at his Saturday arraignment. Okay, at his arraignment Saturday after officers said he led them on a 6 mile chase with speeds exceeding 130 miles per hour on Thursday. So he got in trouble on Thursday and was arrested for some stuff, and now obviously this. So we certainly believe it was the case of him baiting us, the police said. So, yeah. Now, mind you, he fights here in April, so he's more from Mike Coppinger in regards to Anderson. Anderson is in camp for a top ranked boxing on ESPN main event April 13th in Corpus Christi, Texas. Anderson was driving an orange Charger fitted with a black hood, yellow coverings, and front splitter, a camera mount, pullet. Okay. So yeah, I guess he had a camera or something on the car. They're saying, but not good. I mean, Anderson's gotten into a little bit of legal run-ins here recently, and it makes me wonder a bit again how much he's another guy. He said in interviews he really doesn't love boxing that much, and wanted to retire sooner than later from the sport and just live his life. He's looked upon as being America's best chance of an American heavyweight now that Deontay Wilder has been conquered several times by Tyson Fury and Joseph Parker. So it looks like he's pretty much done. And you look beyond Deontay Wilder, there's really not anybody else there. Um, so yeah, so it's kind of sad, kind of weird, kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is in regards to that. So Jared Anderson still scheduled to fight here April 13th um, in Corpus Christi there on ESPN for Top Rank. So they're showing the main event guys getting their hands wrapped. Um, Eddie Hearn has landed because one of his guys, I think, is here, Raymond Ford. So yeah, it looks like we're actually going to start the fight card here sooner than later. Joe Tessitore's doing a lot of talking right now. Hopefully, these fights can end fast because they're showing uh, they're back there getting their hands wrapped. The guys for the main event, the co-main, their hands are already wrapped. Hmm. I know Ford. I've seen him a couple of times on the zone cards. Looks pretty solid. I don't know if this is too early in his career. This is only his 15th bout here tonight. He's challenging for a world title. So I don't know. So I'm interested to see how these fights play out tonight. So yeah, but it will be an interesting see how boxing plays out here in the second quarter of 2024 because so far it's nothing that's wowing. Um, this occurred here this year again. I'm hyped for the card obviously in March because I'm like March. I keep saying March. We're in March now. Of the fight card end of this month here with Oscar Valdez, see what he has left. But Sinise Estrada fighting. She's one of the last few fighters on my bucket list to see fight in person. Beyond her, it's really just in a way probably Artur Beterbiev, and that's it. I mean, I've got an opportunity to see other guys fight at this point. I've seen Terrence Crawford fight. I've seen Canelo fight. I've seen Virgil Ortiz fight. think I've seen even Devin Haney fight on undercard somewhere. Maybe I haven't seen Devin Haney, so I have to take that back with Devin Haney. So he's one I wouldn't mind seeing. Seen Ryan Garcia fight on undercard. So of the stars of today, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's none that a lot of the young guys here for Top Rank, been able to see them fight in person already. Maybe Tiafimo Lopez would be one I wouldn't mind seeing in person because I don't believe I've seen him fight. Interviewed him, but never actually seen him fight in person. So, but yeah, it's really light beyond that. So, also looks like Tim Bradley's head has gotten larger. All right. Huh. I wonder sometimes because I see Tim Bradley's old trainer there backstage, Joel Diaz. I wonder if anything ever, if they've buried the hatchet um, between those two, if when they're there in fighter meetings, if everything's cool, if they've hammered their issues out they've had in the past. Um, yeah, I've never really heard Tim speak of him. Um, oh, something just kind of thinking out loud, just seeing him back there with his guy getting his hands wrapped. All right, Abe is walking to the ring now. He's 25 and 3, 30 years old. He's only got 10 knockouts, 68 reach, 5'7". First fight outside of Japan. Now, if anyone has ever remembered from me saying here through Punch the Face Radio, um, anytime a fighter's making his first fight here in America, I'm already not liking their chances. Traveling, especially when you're traveling so far, it's nothing that I would ever truly advise. Um, I don't. It just seems weird. Nothing that I would be comfortable with my fighter doing because you have to get yourself acclimated to things. And mind you, it's not like you know with Abe coming from Japan, if he was like fighting in California, yeah, there's still somewhat of there's a time difference, but he's fighting in New York, so he had to fly from Japan to New York, and it's a lot of travel. And I also don't know how long he's been here in the States to acclimate himself here with the climate. It looks like it was snowing there up in Verona, New York. The time differences, how much of that he's gotten himself used to. Not really liking his chances there. Now, um, Lopez, he is Mexican, but I know he's fought here in America. 29 and 2, 16 KOs. He's currently the IBF champion and fitting his belt here. So um, he's expecting to deliver a knockout, according to what I'm reading here in the subtitles. And he's always looking for the knockout. Whether he does or doesn't come, he's also expecting a war. Um, Hell of a fighter, Luis Alberto Lopez. So I don't see anything different coming from him. Now it's going to be the thing of this. He is kind of he is really aggressive there in the ring, which there's nothing wrong with. But I also wonder a bit when your fighters are so aggressive like him, like he said, he's looking for the knockout. If patient fighters um, can take advantage of that, but the thing is that you have to weather that storm to avoid getting hurt by this aggressive guy, but you got to sometimes use their aggression against them. So I am interested to see how that occurs here tonight as we are about to do their ring walks here. Not ring walks, they're getting announced here for the IBF Featherweight Championship. Oh, Lord. Man. Wow, he's got the banners up in his corner with a bunch of stuff written in Japanese that I have no idea what the hell it's saying. Oh, he is a heavy underdog according to ESPN bet. He is plus 575. So it's Abe, not Abe. So Abe, his nickname is Genius. Why are you Genius Abe? That's adorable. So I don't know, man. I'm interested to see how aggressive here Lopez starts off with. He's now 3. Oh, I didn't realize Lopez 3-0 in title fights with a KO. Shout out to Winchell's. That's the weird thing. I remember there was a Winchell's Donuts up the street from where I used to live at in Kansas City many years ago. We're talking like 30 plus years ago. Um, I've never seen another Winchell's Donuts anywhere. And I remember maybe like 7, 8 years ago, I saw a Mexican fighter with a Winchell's logo on the back of their trucks, and I didn't realize Winchell's Donuts was still a thing. And apparently, it's still a thing in Mexico. I don't know if it's a real big franchise down there or something because I'm noticing for Lopez, he's had the Winchell's T-shirt on. He's got Winchell's right on the front banner of his trunks. But yeah, um, I don't remember if the donuts were any good or not though. Crazy as shit. But yeah, it bugged me out the first time. I was like, wait a minute, that lettering and that logo, that looks familiar. Winchell's Donuts. There's one up the street from my house when I lived off of 87th Street in Kansas City. Many years ago. Um, no longer there. I think it's actually Advanced Auto Parts there in that spot now. So here we're underway and already um, a bay, a B. I think I'm already announcing it incorrectly, and we're just 15 seconds into the fight. Um, he's kind of backpedaling. He's having to fight off the back foot. Lopez is doing a bunch of wild shit already. Dear God, um, that is his style. But yo, so first throw a little jab. He's just throwing the punches that Lopez is throwing are for such. I don't even know if weird angles is the word to use. It's very unorthodox. Like as Joe Tessitore is now making the point I just made. Um, the awkwardness and the weird angles that these punches come from. How in the hell do you prepare to face a guy like this to where he's throwing shots like I mean these are some weird punches. They have no I mean they're not he's almost like he's doing bolo punches too. He did get tagged here by a right uh, from Abe. Um, Abe. Abe. Gotta make sure I don't see it right. But again, he is throwing these wild combinations and he just hit Abe with the right hand. Um, this guy's Lopez's punches are so weird. But right now, Abe trying to take a little bit more control the center of the ring right now. Lopez not shooting any sort of jab whatsoever. No jab, no nothing at all with that. It's just a weird, oh, nasty right hand to the body there by Lopez. But these punches come from such weird trajectories. It means angles. That again, you're an opponent of Lopez. You don't know where to put your guard up at. You don't know to put your guard high, put your guard low to protect your body. You don't know because he's throwing one punch one weird direction and he's maybe just throwing a weird overhand um, at the same time. So this is I gotta say this. I'm glad I'm not boxing in a fight like this because an opponent like this would frustrate the absolute shit out of me. because I wouldn't know how to exactly fully attack that. I mean, like I say, Abe, his best bet is going to be obviously stay calm, try not to get um, pressured into getting into a slugfest or firefight against an opponent like Lopez. Try his damnedest to take control and try to work off the jab. Try to, as crazy as it sounds, is it crazy? As crazy as it sounds, try to throw off the rhythm of Lopez. If Lopez is throwing off a rhythm and just not being able to drop his head and start swinging wildly, Abe may have a chance. Abe's going to have to do something here. Like I said, the jab is going to be the jab is always the key in every fight. Like, be clear. If you know boxing, you know a jab is probably one of the more effective uh, punches you can throw. Your jab is going to be able to dictate everything. Start working off that jab. Boom. Use that stick. Find your measurement point. Then throw your power hand. I think that'd be a lot more effective for Lopez. But I mean, the guy's a world champion. This has obviously worked so far for him. He's 3-0 in championship fights, and he won round number one. So maybe he knows more than I do. But again, the wild punches. Um, so he's landed 18 punches out of his 43, eight for Abe. So 42% of his punches have landed here for Lopez. Was like 20 something for Abe. Not not the way you want to start off a fight, but again, he's not. Abe doesn't look like he's totally out of it. But again, if you're constantly running backwards from getting chased down by Lopez, who's throwing these wild punches, who they're connecting, they're landing. Um, they're not landing as cleanly as they could because Abe is running backwards, trying to avoid him, but he's getting hit. And the thing is, the accumulation of punches are going to start to add up. It does look like it could be a little bit of puffiness along the right side of the face of Abe already. He has been hit with some good hooks. I thought the body shot was probably the most tremendous one he suffered, but a nice little combination there, but didn't look like it had steam behind it from Abe. Ooh, nice left there by Lopez. And now he's throwing shots to the body here. But even his body punches are weird. They're so odd. Yeah. And as I just pointed out, and now Tim Bradley is stating, it looks like the right eye of Abe is already swollen. Oh yeah, swollen shut. So that big pop that he suffered that left hand, I almost bet you, and it hit loud and hit hard. I bet you that Abe has broken his orbital. Yeah, and he's got the hematoma. Yeah, he's got a broke orbital. That's orbital bone. Yeah, that's broke. That's I've seen enough boxing and know when you hear that punch and it lands there and you see that immediate swelling and yeah, it's even changing colors as we speak. It's like literally as I'm talking, it is getting darker and darker. So yeah, this isn't gonna last long. Yeah, and Lopez just walking it down now, so this is not gonna end well for Bay. Um, I didn't think he would get his face broke because that's basically what an orbital is. And Lopez is just he's got his left hand dropped to his waist and he is just throwing so wild with that right hand. Oof, ooh yeah. So they're putting the cold press up against Abe's eye, and he looks like that hurts a lot. He's got a lot of abrasions along the side of the face here, along the right eye. So the doctors right now asking. So doctors are asking the translators in Abe's corner to ask him, can he see out the eye? And they're trying to answer for him like they've done a decent job to get the swelling down a little bit. Ooh. And I guess a base corner is wanting to know whether this was caused by a punch or not. Um, and they're trying to. Here's the problem with this, where this is going to probably get stopped sooner than later. They're trying to talk, and the interpreter who's in a base corner who does speak English and trying to translate for him. I'm not trying to sound racist to be a dick, but Lord knows what he is telling him to say in response to what the doctor is asking for. Because the doctor is asking him, how many hands are you holding up? He's covering up the other eye that's good. Um, but they did a okay job trying to get the swelling down. They did use the cold press and were pressing down on it. They're also spreading it over, which is actually making it worse. So, I mean, if I'm Lopez and he just threw a nasty uppercut there, is I would just throw nothing but left hands and target that right eye at this point, because there's no way in hell at this rate, the way that eye looks, Bay is going to be able to last another round or two. We're in the third now, 2 minutes left. If Bay just really just if he can survive, he's going to start being the aggressor, which he's trying to be here a little bit, but um, he's getting thrown again. He's getting into a slugfest with a guy whose style is just very reckless. Um, for a Bay to really catch him with something, he's gonna have to kind of time Lopez when he's coming in wildly with his hands kind of all over the place and not in a real good defensive position. He's got to land some sort of home run shot to do that. Right now, I'm not seeing that. Lopez is just kind of stalking him a little bit now. To Lopez's credit, one thing I am enjoying watching him do right now, he's working the body. He's just not headhunting. He's throwing these weird shots. He may throw one or two at the head, and then stop in the combination with body shot, or start the combination with body shot, end at the head. So he's trying to mix it up out there. He's really trying to keep Abe on his toes. But Abe, that eye, how he's able to make it thus far here through this third round with that being that way, he's trying. Landed his own nice little left hand there, but he's not going to be able to set in the pocket and trade shots given how that eye is tore up already. Um, but he also can't chase down Lopez the whole fight, which is so far what he's been doing. Hmm. Now Tim is saying, from what he's observing, that Abay can't see anything out the right eye. I don't know about that. Lopez with a nasty right hand and a combination to close out the round. Huh. So Abay's corner. This is the bad thing about not having doctors who can speak the language of the fighters, and you're dependent upon someone in that fighter's corner to interpret and get a message to you and get an answer. Because he keeps asking them to say, ask him, can he see out that eye? And they're saying, oh yeah, he can see, and they haven't even asked him. Now, doctor again is looking at the eye. yeah, I don't see them being able to go do this fight. It just that eye is pretty gnarly. And the corner's not really doing Abe a service here. Interesting. So, okay. Huh. So the doctor told the ref if the swelling gets any worse there on along the right hand side, they need to stop it. And right now, Lopez, I don't know if Lopez is really targeting that because again, Lopez is doing a little bit of everything: the body shots, the uppercut, a lot of right hands landing here. Um, but Abe, his corner's got to tell him like, look, you just got to go for broke because they're going to stop this because of your eye. And right now, he's not. They're not doing that. I don't know what they're actually saying to him since we can't. We don't have an interpretation of that, but um, just from his demeanor and what he's doing there in ring, it doesn't seem like he's going out there to be the aggressor thus far, um, because he's kind of been on his bike. They just had a break there, and again he's going backwards. Um, Lopez is not targeting the eye here as of yet. Here in the third round, we're here at a minute 50 left. A nice uppercut there to land it, but Lopez is again just kind of stalking down, taking his time. I don't know if he's looking for to score the knockout, but again, another left hand catching, uppercut. I don't know the kind of the way that Lopez is kind of fluid in the way he throws punches. Reminds me a little bit of Teofimo Lopez. Now, obviously, Teofimo Lopez is a lot more tighter, a lot more control than what Lopez is, but I can see a lot of similarities there. Um, Full credit to Abe, who has taken some hellacious shots, and that eye is pretty gnarly and pretty swole. He's still in it. He's still game. He's still throwing punches. He's not in there just to be in there. You know what the weird thing is? Oh wow, he's working more off the jab here for Lopez. I'll be damned. I mean, if he would just pepper 5 or 6 more jabs there to that right eye here for Bay, Lopez will be able to get a stoppage here. Just work off the jab and just target that eye. I hate to say that, hate to be that hard on a Bay that's him getting stopped, but he's gonna get stopped here. We're here 13 seconds left here, fourth round. There's no way I don't see the refs not calling it stopping the fight at this point. And still, let's see if the doctor hops up here yet. They haven't said anything yet here, and again, so they have somebody else who's up here doing interpretation here this round. Mm. So they showed them the replay. It was a thumb in the eye that actually caused that. As they were throwing the thumb part of the glove here on the left hand side of Lopez hit a Bay right there in the eye, and that caused that. But still, pretty nasty. Surprised that didn't actually hurt Lopez more, hitting someone that hard and causing that much damage there with the thumb part of your glove, and he didn't break his thumb. But But they had found another interpreter who's not a part, looks like, of that team or the corner for a Bay. Mm. Hmm. Interesting point there by Mark Kriegel. Lopez is with his hands down, kind of cockiness or arrogance to his style because he's not expecting anything back. Yeah, no punches are really coming back from Abe, and Abe really doesn't have the power. It's a nasty left hand that just sent back Abe. Did knock him down. To Abe's credit, tough son of a bitch, man. This guy's taking uh, I won't say a beating, but he's taken a lot of punishment here through 4 rounds. Um, and again, you know, he's hanging in there and he's throwing punches. He's trying to be solid professional resistance for Lopez, but he just doesn't have enough zip behind his punches for Lopez to respect it to where Lopez isn't going to stop, pressing forward or being there in the ring with his hands down. But if Lopez was just a little bit more controlled with his punches, he could be able to get a guy like this out, but he's not. Hmm. Wow. Interesting to hear they're saying, I guess, from the corner of a bay that they don't plan on stopping it. We're ending here another round, but he is getting mauled. That swelling is getting even worse there around that eye. I think they're going to stop it here. I don't see this fight going much longer. It's got to be done. So right now they have the interpreter, the ref, the docs. But again, I get this corner, for a Bay. They came all the way from Japan. This is a title fight. They don't want to cut it short, but you also have to look at the bigger picture. Like, is it worth um, worth your guy maybe having some permanent damage? I mean, we've seen guys have broke orbital bones, and Kell Brook is a classic example. Got his orbital bone broke against Errol Spence, and he got the other side broke, I think, in his next fight. Um, oh hell, I can't remember, but I know he got both sides broke in fights, like back-to-back fights. So, not good. Not good to have stuff like that happen. Um, and once you get that broke, you are susceptible to more injuries. And obviously, we've seen guys get battered so bad and their face gets swollen up like Antonio Margarito to where he's got permanent damage there on that eye. So the corner has to look out for their fighter and what's best for them from a long-term aspect. Again, I know they're looking at this and saying this is your opportunity. It's a championship fight. We don't know if we'll get another one of these and yada yada yada. Yeah, no. You just you can't you gotta get battered like this and may be have a droopy eye the rest of his life or have impaired vision the rest of his life and just for a boxing world championship. And I know guys know what they're signing up for when they get in the ring, but somebody has to be there to say, be the rational thinker, say, you know what, no. Lopez, couple body shots there, wild uppercut that if he would have landed that uppercut, Bay would have been in orbit. Um, let's see here. But a Bay is not a Bay, but Lopez, he's just his hands are just always so damn low. And the Bay is doing a little bit better job of not getting the ring cut off. He's able to move around a little bit more, a little bit better here. It's being a much better round for him here this round. As we're watching this here, let's see, it's what, 30 seconds left in the round. This may be around here for a Bay. So, I mean, he's able to survive so far. I mean, we're to the halfway point. I really didn't think it would make it this far, given how swollen that eye had gotten. Um, but we're there, and Bay's kind of in it because he just won a round. He's won this round. So, okay, good round for Bay there. But he's still probably down. I think it's 5-1, probably. But Abe hasn't fallen yet. Yeah, a lot of body work. They're showing the stats here through the halfway of the fight. 60 body shots here from Lopez compared to 11 for Abe. That's, I mean, body work is something you don't see enough of in boxing. You don't see enough guys going to the body. Um, that's how you're going to slow down an opponent. Like, go to the body, and that'll eventually make them drop their hands, and it makes them susceptible to the big shot up top. But you don't see enough fighters starting or working the body as they should. It's become a lost art here over the last 2 decades in boxing. Um, Again, Bay's fighting a lot better here. Again, this round he's starting off well. Again, he's fighting very calm. Kind of something I said earlier. He's got, if he can weather the storm and continue to fight calm, and maybe he's doing this now. Lopez did rush in there with a wild combination. That's the thing is Lopez, in order for him to land something clean, he's got to have a Bay being stationary in front of him, and right now he's not stationary in front of him. Abe's doing a good job of maneuvering and not letting the ring get closed off to him, and kind of being able to backpedal it and turn off. Right there, he was up against the ropes, backpedal, turned around. Now he just landed a three-punch combination. As Lopez is now pounding his chest and taunting him, now he's got Abe back up against the ropes and trying to be the aggressor again. Though Lopez needs Abe to be flat-footed for enough time for him to land his shots and be effective, and not come back with any offense of his own. And Abe is not uh, not complying with that as he is getting off his own offense. Oh lordy, this is lasting a lot longer than I thought it would. I'm glad it started earlier than just 9 o'clock here Central Time. Yeah, now the swelling again is starting to reappear here for Abe there on his right eye. Lopez has landed a lot more shots. He just landed two uppercuts there. Not a ton of steam on him, but and literally as I'm saying stuff, Tim Bradley's saying the same thing. He just said, how they don't have enough steam on him. But these punches that Lopez is throwing are just touch punches. And big right hand there, excuse me, left hand there by Abe that stopped Lopez in his tracks a little bit, but not enough to stop the aggressionness because Lopez is all over Abe here as we close out the seventh. The ref is walking back to the corner there of Abe. Um, let's see if they stop it here now. Um, like I said, they did a decent job getting the swelling down over the last round or two, but definitely inflated more here in the seventh. And he seems very happy to be there. I don't know if you could hear Lopez howling there in his corner, but the body work is really what's kind of setting up a lot of these other punches here from Lopez. And I admire and respect that body work. I do worry about his defense as he goes in. He was winning unification bouts. His defense is going to have to tighten up. He's not going to be able to be as crazy with the punches. And looks like they're going to let him keep going. Abe, the corner, the doctors all huddle up there with the other interpreter they have, and looks like they're okay with it. Wow, he's got blood, a bloody nose, a battered up right eye, and he's still coming out here for the eighth round. Good job here staying off the ropes again. That's what Lopez is looking for. He's looking for a stationary target that he can get off on. And now he's throwing a fury of punches, and they're stopping it. Now I don't know if I agree with that. It's so Lopez started taunting and telling the crowd to get up, and the crowd got loud, and then all of a sudden he just threw a flurry of punches, gets the TKO victory here in the eighth round. I don't hate the stoppage, but I also hate the stoppage. I mean, it's one of those things. These punches were there was quite a few of them, but it's not like a bunch of them were landing that clean. But eventually, this was going to need to get stopped simply because Abe's face was just not was not good. So what Lopez did, he forced the um, he forced the ref to make a call. So, yeah, so he just threw a flurry of punches, and but I guess the ref was just saying, enough's enough. Hmm. So Luis Alberto Lopez retains his IBF championship. Interesting way to close the show. So here it is, 9:30 Central Time here in the Greater Midwest. Um, hopefully, it won't be much of a downtime here for the main event as the fighters have already got their hand wrapped backstage. They showed them getting their hands wrapped, so they should have their gloves on and should be already pretty warmed up. Um, Jamaica. Okay. And so Bernardo Osuna getting the interview here with Lopez. Oh, oh man, I'm running on fumes. I've now been here doing this an hour and a half. Yo, I think I'm gonna dip out because I feel like I'm gonna fall asleep during the main event. But there will be more of these to come, as I said in the last video. And granted, that one didn't say, but there will be more of these. And there'll be more weekly news, pod drops, and all that here on the YouTube channel. So please listen, subscribe, and share. I would gladly appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and dip out and watch the main event, or the main event watch me, as I'll probably sleep. Until next time, stay safe, stay blessed, love one another. That's the only way to get through this. Um, yeah, and that's it. Till next time, I'm Brandon Stubbs, and I'm out.